Okay, so over the next few days, I'm going to be working on transforming one of my closets into a mudroom kind of drop zone area. All of this stuff laying around the house and never makes it into this basket, the shoes and the backpacks. And every project has to have a fun design, so I'm going to put a piece of board in here with something pretty and then add some hooks. And then instead of building out a bench in shoe storage, I bought one, so I'm going to assemble that, put it together, and then I'll put some baskets on top. I'm going to remove this 1x2 board and this metal support bracket. I am actually going to keep the rod in here, but I won't need any middle support since I'm just going to be doing some stuff on the sides. And always check your drill settings so you don't strip your screws. I did this often as a beginner. There are just a few screws here, so I removed those and worked this metal bar off. This should only be attached with screws, so just give it a few good tugs and it should pull right off. Just like that. Since there's paint and caulk around this 1x2, I need it to come off, so I'm scoring it with my box cutter knife, and I went over it a couple of times. I used this paint scraper and hammer to get behind the 1x2, and I just worked my way little by little behind it, going up and on the other side. Once it starts to lift, you can see where the original nails were put in. I just kept working my way on both sides and wiggling it back and forth, and then it started to come out of the wall. I used my box cutter knife to clean up some of this paint and caulk that was left so that my board is nice and flush. Here's the board I'm going to be using, an MDF shelving board. Now I just need to notch it out so it fits around this board. I thought that I could use this, but it didn't really quite work. I've never used this before, but I know you've probably seen them advertised. I probably didn't use it correctly, but I just used my tape measure, and now I need to go cut it. This is a really small cut. You could use a handsaw, but I'm going to be using my jigsaw. And then I got all of the safety gear on, didn't even put it on. The jigsaw is one of my favorite tools. It's great for cutting curves, and you can even cut straight lines, and it's definitely beginner friendly. It's one of the more safer saws out there. If you don't have one and you're a DIY beginner, definitely add it to your list. My dad gave me this jigsaw, and it is a little bit older, but it's still working. Now let's see if it fits. I used some wood glue and my nail gun, and it fits just right. My board wasn't quite long enough, so I'm going to cut another section for the other side. I measured and used my miter saw to cut this to size. I got it in, and now I'm going to caulk all around for a nice seamless look. Never skip your caulking. I swear it makes such a big difference. I tell my kids that assembling furniture will help them in their future adult life. It was pretty easy to assemble, and I got these cute baskets for the top. This is the best opener for 5-gallon buckets, by the way. Okay, skim coating is not required for this project, but I have a skim coating project coming up, doing some wallpaper, and I've never done it before, so I figured this would be a great opportunity for me to test it out. That way, if I mess it up, it's not as big of a deal. And thankfully, it all went smoothly, literally. I primed this area since it's MDF board. You always want to prime. Now I'm gonna paint this white and this probably a darker color, and then the top a darker color. And I couldn't remember if I sanded after I primed this MDF board, so I went over it really quick and then played around with a few different designs. Okay, I got this painted white. Now let's check out the design I came up with. I have it left over for my like little plaid detailing that I'm gonna add to the board. If you don't have this, I wouldn't go out and buy it for this specifically unless you just have the extra money, because this pole wrap is kind of expensive. This is left over from a project. Then you could buy is this really thin plywood. It's a 1/4-inch plywood, or trim boards or like little lattice boards. It's very easy to cut it long ways. You just use a box cutter, and then to cut it the opposite way, you just fold it and then you use your miter saw. I'm just gonna kind of bend it. I used some cardboard to put underneath so that I didn't cut on my tabletop, and I just continued to cut a few of these. If I don't press hard enough, I'll just go back over it where needed. And it's a nice clean cut for the most part. My blade isn't super sharp, so I'm having to clean it up just a little bit. I used my square and my level to create my lines where I wanted. I used some wood glue and my nail gun with 5/8-inch nails and attached them to the board along the lines that I just marked up. Y'all, I was going to paint this white, but I'm loving this natural wood against the white. Pole rope has a little bit of an angle on the ends. You could cut them and line it up a little bit more seamlessly, but I'm good with keeping it easy on this one. And then painted the bottom and the top, and I just love this blue. Couple bits of a few sample paints. I added these hooks I got on Amazon. Great price, by the way. I'll link those below. And look how pretty it came out. I absolutely love it. And you can change up the design to make it easier and fit your style. And of course, this is just what it looked like after I finished, because when we're actually using it, I'm not going to have a plant in here. This is what it looks like in real life, but we're a little bit more organized and we're using it and loving it. I hope this project gave you some DIY inspiration.